This podcast does contain spoilers, so if you're okay with that, listen on. If not, pause the podcast, go watch the movie we're about to talk about, and come on back.
All right, sweet.
Excuse me.
Brandon, over here. Hey,
Pardon me.
why don't you have the popcorn? It's starting.
Woo! Hey.
Hey, shut up. Shut up and listen to the podcast. Hey.
There's a lot out there to see. This is what we watched. I have so many tabs open on all of my browsers. Holy shit.
Do you save tabs? Open a bunch of tabs on your phone? Because that's where I'm like an old man with the amount of tabs that I have in my browser on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pull it up now because the camera is my phone. How many to open what we watched? How many tabs do you think I have? And I'll tell you like the rough number, not exact, because I'd have to open my phone and do that shit. But that's not happening. So
rough number, I'm going 75.
Ooh, close. I'm definitely in the 80s. It's like high
nice.
80s.
Nice.
Oh, dude, there's news articles, movie articles from freaking 2 years ago that I still am like, I'll go back and read that again.
Yeah. Well, that sounded interesting for sure. I sometimes will prioritize. I'm like, all right, well, I've read stuff from this site before, so I'm going to prioritize this because this is a quick read. I know they don't go into depth, so I'm going to do this one first, get those knocked out of the way.
The other problem is I have a bunch of bullshit because it's like one of the companies I work for, you have to clock in, you have to open the app. Mm-hmm. Then when you try to clock in, they'll take you to a web page that you sign in there. Then they take you back to the app, but then they leave that fucking web page open. So sometimes I just open it and there's like 5 of them because I've just clocked in and out a bunch, and I'm like delete. Feels real good. It's
very cathartic. Like when I'm getting a new phone or when I've got to do an update or something, or I have to go through all my web pages to make sure I read everything that I want to or save everything in my notes file or something like that. It's very cathartic getting that down from the unnamed or number that's too big to count on the little tabs page down to like 20.
Yep.
It's very much like, oh my God, my life feels good again.
Usually I just can't. They're all gone. They're just gone to me forever. Well, I personally always go like, I've been going Google to Google to Google. So they just get transferred. It's fine. But these, speaking of words, what we watched. I couldn't link that back. I couldn't link that back.
Movie review podcast. It's a podcast for movie lovers, TV lovers. It's for those who like lots of tabs. That's what I'm going with today.
See, wasn't that like a better rhythm? You cut out, it's a movie podcast. It's a, Okay. Anyways, to each their own. But we are ultimately talking not Tenet. This week is Sing Sing.
Sing Sing. Sing Sing.
A quick one is them referencing it being the Sing Sing prison. Is that a title drop? Just because?
Yes.
Okay, heard.
Yes.
So Sing Sing in there is they just cut off prison. Sing Sing prison.
Yeah. Yes.
Heard.
I also when I first heard about this movie, was percolating last year during festival season, I thought it was going to be like about like the inception of Sing Sing or like how like the very first program got started. So my expectations were very different than what this movie was, and so I
dude, I thought it was like a gay love story or something. That's what I really thought. And after I watched it, I'm like, why did I think that? Maybe it's just because of Rustin.
Maybe.
And I just like I just transferred that over to this one, I guess. Maybe
I 100% every time his character was on screen, I'm like, it's not Bayard, it's not Rustin, it's not. Fuck.
But before we get into Sing Sing, I've got feels about Alien. With Alien Romulus coming out, I've been rewatching / watching the Alien franchise. I'm up to, I just finished 4 Alien Resurrection. So next I think I'm gonna watch Alien versus Predator to clear my palate, and then Prometheus. So then after that, I think I have 2 more after that.
Covenant,
so I'm
and then Romulus.
What?
So after AVP, then it's Covenant and then Romulus?
No.
Or Prometheus, Covenant, Romulus?
Well, technically, but Romulus is technically going to be between Alien and Aliens. It's not going to be.
Oh.
That's what I read somewhere. So it's going to be in the universe in the 57 years or so. Because one of my biggest things is when I'm watching this Alien franchise is they will not leave Sigourney Weaver alone. Like this woman, like ever since they touched down to go sit, like to go to in the first one, they respond to a distress signal to go save some people. Since they touched down, you cannot find me a character in a franchise that has had a worse life per time, because she goes through the whole first one. Everybody dies. The only people that live are her and a cat. And then she goes into cryo. So she's been asleep. Then 57 years later, it's 57 years, but not for her. She just wakes her ass up. For Aliens, then she's like out and about for 3 weeks. She goes back to the planet, has to deal with them again. Then she survives again, goes back into cryo. Then she wakes up on a prison planet of just all men, and then just start fighting the freaking aliens again. And then it's like, and then in 4, they freaking clone her. So she goes back again. Like she's gotten, like the whole time, she's gotten maybe like 3 weeks to just like live a life.
Yeah.
And even still, she was like living on a random, like, spaceship, working in the docks and stuff.
Yeah.
This woman, life sucks for her. I feel so bad that she's got to deal with this constantly. Just let her go home.
This is her home now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous.
That's
there's
hilarious.
so many people that I forgot are in it. Like Bilbo Baggins. Well, I guess you don't know. Bilbo from Lord of the Rings is the original android. Piece of shit android. He's the original one. Bill Paxton's in 2. He's awesome.
Is he really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's so obnoxious. You've definitely heard the meme. Oh God, what's the exact line? It's game over, man.
Oh yeah, I definitely heard that.
That's Bill Paxton in Aliens.
Oh shit!
I'm going to strangle my phone. I swear to God. I don't understand.
And it only happens, like it gets so bad, like when we actually start. The whole time leading up to this, it's fine. Maybe there's a flicker here, flicker there. You know, a little bit of stagger. You know, juddery frames. But then we hit record and we start going, and it just goes ape shit with this.
I know. I'm assuming they just don't like my how my computer just sucks. I'm assuming
It got real bad.
Anyways, I'm powering through, and everyone just can deal with it. I'm sorry. I think so far my favorite is the original Alien.
Okay.
Because the first one is definitely like a horror film. The second one is a action. And I don't think it's as good as the first one. I know everybody loves the first 2. Everyone will agree with me that 3 and 4 fucking suck. But 1 and 2, I don't know, 2 was just such like a cheesy action with like shitty CG and stuff. And I understand it's 30 years old or something like that. Yeah. But God, they were like running with like the spaceships like coming after them at one point, and I'm like, God.
You could see the dude's hand who's holding the spaceship.
I wish they had AI back then so that it would look better.
That's why all these remakes are happening, man. That's why these franchises continue, because people are like, well, now that we have the technology to do this.
Dude, for real. I'm
especially with James Cameron. Which, speaking of, shit, I had just saw yesterday that Avatar 3 is no longer titled The Seed Bearer.
It is Fire and Ash.
I love that title. I saw a couple of headlines that say, oh, unfortunately, it's no longer The Seed Bearer, or, why would he change this? This is terrible. I'm like, Fire and Ash sounds fucking awesome. Seed Bearer sounds...
I can't fathom, no offense, I can't fathom having opinions on either of them without knowing the movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
Just as a title alone. That's it. That's all.
I like Seed Bearer too. I like, they both look cool. I don't know. It's very based off the movie more than anything to me.
Also true. Also true.
It basically, if they could still do a bunch of seed-based stuff and it's called Fire and Ash, you're like, that's fucking dumb. But, I saw somewhere when 2 came out that they talked about all the different clans that they already know about.
Yeah.
And one of them is there's a fire-based like clan, which this is the 2 was the water-based clan. I think 1 was supposed to be more generic than anything and like maybe foresty. Mm-hmm. So then I think the next they were trying to decide if they wanted to go like Earth or like planet kind of, which I imagined would be the Seed or the Fire Nation, for lack of better Avatar reference.
Aha! Blending avatars. Yay!
Nailed it. But
Nailed it.
yeah, so it sounds like they're going to Fire and the Fire Nation, which
Yes.
hey, that's cool. You know,
Let's
I'm
go
sure
Fire Nation.
I'm excited to feel like, you know, your guys' complaint about Elemental was like you couldn't like feel the elements and stuff, and I feel like James Cameron will be able to do that and like really, really have you feel the nature and feel the fire.
Yes,
and it's
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that.
I also saw recently Dee Dee, the other like indie that's out, super indie that's out.
Yeah, how was that?
Honestly, I quite enjoyed it. It's, to me, I'm sure if you saw it, you might disagree. It feels very Sing Sing to me, where it is a slice of life. There's no real like, you know, driving plot. It's more of we're hanging out with these people, and it's like his last month before he enters high school. The Dee Dee, not Sing Sing, is the last month before running into high school. So we're watching him like make friends and lose friends and kind of trying. He's kind of annoying because he's just such a fucking liar. But like, it was a lot of blast from the past. Big blast from the past because it's like, dude, it's like I couldn't tell the time though because they had MySpace, they had AIM, but then they reference like these middle schoolers reference being Facebook friends, and I'm like, that's definitely not right because Facebook started in college, people, and then it was a long time before like anybody younger than college could even join it. So
was it a long time? Because I thought it was only a couple of years till they opened it to like the general public.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that was still MySpace phase or, you know, I am AIM chats. In my mind, those were post that, but hey, maybe. I was getting the vibe that it was early, like 2000s, late 90s, because he lied about his age at one point and saying he was born in the 1990. So I assume he was born somewhere early 90s, and he was rolling into the high school. So I don't know. But no matter what, honest to God, I thought the kid's acting was really good, to the point where like I kind of forgot about his acting in general. It felt very natural. The computer stuff I thought was a little cheesy. I didn't love the effects and stuff, and I kind of wish that there was more of a driving plot than drifting through following this kid. But I'd recommend it. I think it was good. While I wasn't a skateboarder, or I don't have a sister, or, I didn't grow up with basically my mom raising me without, dad around and stuff like that. So I didn't necessarily identify with those sides of it. Yeah. But I was a kid in that area, so it really gave me some nostalgia, and it was fun. Oh, cool. I would recommend people seeing it.
Yeah, I definitely want to go check that one out. I did go and see Trap, the M. Night Shyamalan one.
Spoilers. I want to know the big twist.
It was the big twist. So it was underwhelming. The big twist is that the wife is in on it. That's it. That's the big twist. Because the whole setup is he takes his daughter to a concert, and then he finds out that the concert is basically not for the fans of the artist, but to trap this serial killer and catch him and take him into custody. And my first thought was, how the fuck would the FBI know that he's taken his daughter to a concert and it's revealed, oh, there's a ticket stub that was left at one of his safe houses, because he apparently has multiple houses he goes to do these crimes. And then at the very end, right, he escapes from the cops, comes back to his house, and is like, yeah, I've been thinking, you knew about this at some point, right? Like, when did you figure it out? And it is the Sex Bomb drummer from Scott Pilgrim. That's his wife. And in that big scene, it's like, oh yeah, no, I knew for a while. I've been trying to get you caught for a couple of months now.
Oh, she's in on getting him caught, not I thought you meant she was in on the serial killing.
Oh, no. See, that would have been much more interesting, I think. Yeah, the whole thing was kind of underwhelming. Again, the big twist was not really a major, turn, I don't think. I think it could have been. I didn't really necessarily see it coming. I thought it was interesting. Acting was okay, not great. But it really felt like M. Night Shyamalan has never been to a concert before, and everything was so situational and relied on oh, hey, how convenient that this lines up right here. Oh, hey, how convenient we can hear each other in the middle of a rock show. Or, just the only chance that any of this plays out is the 1% chance that this event takes place. Mm-hmm. So
can you explain to me? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, when it builds up, 8 or 9 or 10 events like that in a row, it's like, come on. It can't all rely on circumstance.
Yeah, agreed. Hey, can you explain? So the wife knew, right?
Yes.
And she was trying to get him caught.
Yes.
Okay. What's the reasoning why she just didn't walk up to a police officer and go, hello, my husband named this is killing people?
Because then the movie wouldn't happen.
Hurt. I was about to say, how is this like, I've been trying to get you caught? How is it not? And they didn't know like who the person was. At the very least, you're like, hey, my husband has been murdering people. Look at these videos. His name is this. He's going to be here. He looks like this. Can you guys pick him up? Because there's literally a person in our basement or the other safe house basement that you already know about the safe house. So,
right, exactly.
They already found some of the safe houses.
I think, I don't know. Yeah, she was like dropping hints because the first time, like the safe house where they found the receipt, I guess she called it an anonymous tip. Again, instead of telling anybody and saying, hey, this is what's happening, I'm I guess on the off chance that if she was wrong, she didn't want to be, then a victim herself, or in the off chance like they couldn't actually catch her or catch him, then she wouldn't, I assume would be that character's motivation is to kind of be in secret about it.
Yeah, but even you're going anonymous tip. The anonymous tip is the serial killer's name is this. He lives here.
Sure.
How do you know this? Don't worry about it. Okay, heard. We still know his name. We know his address. Mm-hmm. We can start looking. Man, that's very weird. That is very weird.
Very much so. Very much so.
Sweet. So, but our main topic today is Sing Sing.
Sing.
I'm going to pause and... Are you fucking kidding me right now? I was about to reset my phone to maybe that helps, but...
I think it's good.
Well, don't say that. Fuck you. All right, anyway, so maybe I'll pause it randomly to reset my phone.
Cool.
Sweet.
Oh, actually, I did have one last question, I swear. So you said you were going to watch Alien vs. Predator.
It is not part of the universe.
Do you feel like you have to watch Predator or the Predator movies to be able to watch AVP?
Fuck no. Frankly, cool. I don't think I need to watch any of these. I'm just doing it for fun. Like, I don't think it's a requirement. Well, I'm saying is, I don't think I necessarily need to watch Alien to watch Alien Romulus, which is a direct like sequel hypothetically to it. Mm-hmm. So definitely don't need to watch Alien or Predator or anything like that for Alien versus Predator.
Gotcha.
When I watched it as a kid, Alien vs. Predator, when I watched it as a kid, I don't think I ever watched any Predator movies. And I want to say I maybe watched like one of the Alien movies. So realistically, I just watched it as a fun action movie.
Yeah.
That's like barely part of it.
All right, sweet.
Because it's not even like in the universe either.
Right.
There's a bunch. Well, what? Alien versus Predator?
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, it's a movie off of a comic book. I mean, is it? Sure, you want to go with it? I don't know.
I don't know. I know nothing about any of these worlds, and I didn't realize there was a comic book either. So cool.
Yes. Yeah. Alien versus Predator. I'm pretty positive was a comic book. So hey, popular comic book
graphic
movie.
Novel.
Yeah, it might be a graphic novel. I don't know how long it was. What's the difference?
More
comic
gore
book?
than a comic book.
So all of Deadpool stuff are graphic novels then?
I don't know. That's a really good question. Style maybe?
You can say I don't know.
I did say I don't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I don't know the style. I don't even tell you what like normal style. All the comic books are different styles too, like based off who draws them. So
True.
I can't imagine it'd be that.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. What you don't have to do any homework for is Sing Sing. We're going to punch in. We're going to do this one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, eventually. Well, is Sing Sing? I haven't seen Sing Sing.
Oh, okay. So Sing Sing. No, Sing Sing. For anyone who doesn't know or hasn't got a chance to see it, I'm surprised that it's not getting a larger release right now. It seems like it's only a limited week release. Um, and I
Hey,
don't know if it's going to get something, in the fall or if it's going to get a streaming release or something like that. But it's A24's film, so I assume it'll be on Max at some point later in the year. Um,
they differ in following ways. A comic book is properly a magazine with volumes and issue numbers, while a graphic novel is properly a single publication. Graphic
oh, a
novels are usually
standalone story.
longer than comic books, have more definitive story in comparison to it. Graphic novel contains a beginning, middle, and end, offering the kind of resolution you expect from a novel. Comics are usually short, consisting of few panels telling a story, while graphic novels are typically more extended and more in depth, telling a complete story throughout several chapters. Comics are often used for humor or as a way to tell simple stories, while graphic novels are generally used for more serious storytelling. Oh yeah, we're
Boom.
back.
Throw the
Yeah,
textbook at you.
it is very limited. It was hard for me to find a freaking showing at. I have found a couple showings at Alamo on like I think I went Thursday morning or Thursday night.
Mhm.
Yeah, Thursday evening. And then other than that, there's none at AMC.
Nothing.
It's yeah, I assume it's gonna have another small run when we come to Oscar times. That's generally A24's smaller budget stuff. Loves that.
Mhm.
That's usually, get up a little bit of steam, get the word out, and then come back again because the word's been out. And it's like, oh yeah, you remember Whale or, crap like that, where it's like, yeah, you remember seeing that. So, it doesn't shock me. We've been hearing about it for a while. I've been waiting for it to come out because
Yeah.
I assume this took some I bet you they label this as 2023, I would assume, when it
Well,
got released, right?
IMDb does have 2023 because
Yeah,
this
so I figured.
premiered at Toronto,
Yep.
and so the Toronto Film Festival I think happens in I don't remember, um,
Toronto.
sometime in the fall,
Hey,
somewhere in Canada. I don't know where.
another white
And
guy directing a black movie. God. Sorry, go ahead.
you're so happy about that. And
Greg Quarter?
I know I totally forgot. I needed to look up how to pronounce his name. Kwedar.
Quaidar.
Quedar.
It looks like a Quaidar.
But yeah, this has a 2023 tag on it, but it's going to be submitted for the 2024 year because that's when its theatrical debut is, and I think
Is that
that's what matters.
Okay, you don't know for sure. That's what I was going to ask you if I would also assume that they do that just so, because then that like kind of defeats. And also I wonder if it's forced to do a wide release.
Right.
So they can take it on like tour, because sometimes people, some movies they like to do very limited release and tour with like the director or the star, so then people can see it, get a Q&A, and then
Right.
figure out if do we want to get in on this, do we want to put money towards it. So
Right.
sometimes just the fact that it's shown in a theater can't always be the decider of like, now the movie's out.
Yes, exactly. And I know that for next year's batch of movies, the whole release rule is going to change. I need to brush up on what exactly that is, but if I remember correctly, it has to be out for longer than 2 weeks, and it has to be in a certain number of theaters. I think it's more than 600 theaters. Or more than 6 markets. It has like you can't just do the New York or LA release anymore, starting with next year's batch. So that will also, I think, change how things get released and when they get released as well. But then I think you have to submit for the FYC, the for your consideration page as well. So it's a whole amalgamation of different requirements to get in there.
People who don't know, it's fucking obnoxious. It'll super annoying.
Yeah, for real. It'll be coming back at some point. I made my own little post, and I highly recommend people to try and find this while they can, while it's in theaters. I think this is fantastic. It's about inside the Sing Sing prison. It's about the rehabilitation through the arts program, and it's about characters, incarcerated persons who are trying to find their humanity again through theater and through this basically therapy that they do with each other. To get a little bit more life back in this, tough situation.
Yeah, to me, we can roll into, like, speaking of awards. I do have a sneaky one that I think it should win the award for.
Okay.
That I don't know, if you really think about this, because I think it's going to be overall. I heard Coleman's going to be in the category for lead, I'm assuming. And then I imagine it'll sneak in at the bottom half of the best picture. Personally, I know you were in love with this and it's your favorite. I really, really enjoy it, but it's definitely not my favorite of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and again, you can correct me if it's not a category this year, because I don't know when it's getting in, best ensemble or best casting. I think, to me, this screams best casting, because, when Marvel has all of these stars in it, it's like, yeah, no shit, they're A-list actors. It's not that fucking hard, guys. We collected the best actors and put them in a movie. Oh my God, you did so great. Like, I think this is something that should win casting award versus the others, because Coleman is a A-lister.
Sure.
We could debate on that, how big of movies and stuff. He's established, fantastic actor.
Yes.
And then after that, in terms of the character names, Mike,
mm-hmm.
he's kind of an actor. And then after that, it's like mostly, are they real prisoners, or like, are they just no names? Where did they come from?
Yeah, so besides Sean San Jose, who was Mike, and Paul Racy, who was the therapist, everybody else is a formerly incarcerated person. They were formerly
not currently.
Yeah, not
formerly,
currently, but they were in the RTA program, in the Rehabilitation Through the Arts. I don't remember if they all went through Sing Sing, or if they just if some of them went and some of them were in a couple of the prisons surrounding the New York area, but they all are former actors in prison. And that I
thought they were fantastic too.
Absolutely. I think they were incredible. Fantastic. They really were for their roles. And I 100% agree with you. It's unfortunate because the casting Oscar is going to be starting in 2026, so for next year's batch of movies. So this one's not eligible, of course, unless, I don't know, A24, maybe that's why they're holding it. So they're going to release it next year.
So the coming up one is going to be the 2025 Oscars?
The 2025 batch for the 2026 Oscars.
That seems dumb that you have 2 different years of we're awarding the 2025 Oscars is awarded to 2024 movies.
Correct.
That seems dumb.
And I mean, it's kind of like,
I would just call it the same thing. The 2025 it happens in 2025, but it's about the 2024 movies.
Right. Or just do what football and what hockey and basketball do.
I hate that shit.
24-25 year.
I hate that shit. I understand that why they do it and stuff, and I would understand why the Oscars would do it. It drives me crazy, and it absolutely crazy to me. Just like, pick one of them. Pick where it starts or where it ends. I would be perfectly fine with that.
Right.
Anyways, that's annoying. So 1 year from. So they're not gonna.
So yeah, this one will. But I think this one will top our list for ensemble cast for the What We Watched Awards. When we do our awards at the end of the year, this absolutely you hit it right on the head. This is a great opportunity to see, some veteran actors, but then to see the absolute no names and the ones who have never gotten a chance like this. And I do want to talk about performance for sure, but I want to mention, because I found it absolutely fascinating, and I definitely want to see if this is going to change any model. The production,
I doubt it.
Right, probably, but the production, it did.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, it did a payment structure where everybody made the same scale, made the same rate, from the PAs to the lead actor made the exact same rate. But then they all got equity. What's that?
Hurt. That just seems crazy to me.
I know.
To be like, the PA should not be made. No. If you want to go like, oh, all the leads should and all the supporting should, and then all those guys should, I agree. But the fact that Coleman is making the same as the person who's going to go get coffee and stuff. And I understand that they're still important. I'm not saying they're not, but that's crazy. And
right. Vastly different jobs and vastly different talents. And so, yeah, the whole scale, I mean, but they talked about how this kind of opened up the chance for people to make a livable wage and for everyone to have a chance at a stake in this movie. And the whole opening it to equity is kind of where like Coleman's going to make a little bit more, because he was with this from inception all the way now through, release and into awards push. So he's going to make a little bit more bump because he's got more equity in this versus, some of the smaller below the line roles will have a much smaller stake.
And I'm with you. I think the best model would be you pay them, something reasonable, livable, guaranteed, and then give everybody a percentage. And like, you want the movie to be better, because if the movie does do better, you make more money.
Right.
I think that makes so much sense. Like, we talk about sports a lot with, oh my God, these people are making so much money. And it's the same with actors too. It's insane that they make to like $10 million for some movies and stuff. But it's like, when you look at it in a vacuum, that's insane. That's so stupid. But then when you look at the bigger picture of somebody's going to make all that money, in NFL, it's like, oh, I can't believe a quarterback's making $30 million. Guys, it's a $1 billion industry. So you just think somebody else deserves all that money that's not doing the work. Right. So it's like, I do agree that it would be sweet to give them percentages, just be the standard. Be like, if you're in the PA union, you get this amount of equity and you get this base pay, stuff like that. But I bet you it doesn't happen, because
I would be shocked to see anything like this employed. I mean, I know Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's production company, Artist Equity, is kind of doing something similar, but I think that's like what you said with the actors. I think the actors are getting paid a lot more closer or the exact same rate than before. But it's not going to happen on a larger scale. It's just not. The model is too old. And yes, I was reading a quote that was like, the only reason why it's still being done is because that's how it's been done. And I'm like, to a degree, I agree with that. But I just don't think that anyone with, with giant production money and the giant production companies are going to do anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, but like also think about, say, Furiosa. I guarantee you, if they had done that, the model that we're talking about, Anna Taylor-Joy would not have made as much money than her just getting a lump sum for whatever they paid. I don't even know what they paid her.
Sure.
But I would assume it's in like the 5 to 10-ish million, somewhere around there. I think she's kind of a, good businesswoman that doesn't back down. So I bet you she's closer to 10, I bet you they didn't lowball her ass. So hypothetically, though, if she took a lower amount and then got percentage and then it bombed, she'd miss out on money. You know, so it's really, it's a double-edged sword. I don't know, over a whole year, 3-4 years, I don't know how you'd come out better if you went equity versus upfront. Because sometimes, if people don't believe in shit, people don't like the Marvel movies. They show up for that lump sum. That's all they showed up for.
Yep, they show up for the paycheck. I mean,
Brie Larson with the Marvels, she'd make less, stuff like that.
Exactly. It just reminds me of the scene from Inside Llewyn Davis where, he's a struggling artist and he needs money and he takes that check right away because, he's like, well, I just need the money now. I don't have time to wait for it. Maybe it's a good song, maybe not. I just did this for the paycheck. And then boom, it blows up and you miss out on that back end.
We don't have time to get into the music industry. Movie industry is one thing. The music they're fucking horrible. They're so much. I think they're worse than the movie industry. Anyways,
I agree.
So circling back around, speaking of awards,
to what?
Awards, because you want to get back to the performances and stuff like that.
Yes.
I heard about this because people are saying, I still get articles, even though I don't love the Oscars and stuff. I still get articles all the time like, hey, this sounds like it's going to be one of the Oscars heavy hitter, or like at least perform. Honestly, I heard it because of performance-wise for Coleman, more than, any other awards. Not saying they won't be part of it. I'm just saying that's how I heard about it.
Sure.
So we can dive into, unless you want to jump to another award, we can dive into Coleman's performance and what we think. And this will be kind of one of my, I really did greatly enjoy this, but one of my problems was that because they chose to feature and give screen time to the other actors, to the other prisoners that did great, and I greatly enjoyed it, I think it took away from what Coleman could have given us, because I think 95% of it was Coleman smacked it. Like, I already knew that was going to happen. He did
Yeah.
good. He's an A-lister.
Yeah.
It's not above and beyond to me, except for like 2 scenes. And I thought the very ending of him being released from prison was very emotional, very sad. I think his acting did great. And then I think and then when he was angry and like tried to fight him on whatever the rehearsal they did.
Yeah, the
I
breakdown.
think that acting was like, that was Oscar worthy to me. But my only problem is there wasn't, I can't compare it to who else is in the category yet, but like there wasn't enough moments of the breakdown moments. There weren't enough to me. They filtered too many of the other prisoners, which I was excited they did, but they sacrificed a lot of other stuff in this movie to me, story-wise and acting-wise, to feature other people to feature them. So that's the only I worry about.
I don't disagree with you at all. I think that while what we got is brilliant and I loved it and I wouldn't want to see it any other way, honestly, I think you're absolutely right. Is we could have gotten a much more powerful performance because we got glimpses, we got bits and pieces of Coleman's abilities and of his character getting, to kind of wrestle with his inner demons. And before he even breaks down, right before he hits his breaking point, you see him wrestling with those kind of things when Divine Eye kind of starts taking over a little bit. You see him like the jealousy starts to creep in. And, he's like, this is, internally, this is my place. This is my space. I'm top dog here. And this is how I thrive. Like, now I have to figure out how to kind of relinquish some of that power and how to share the stage and how to share some of that with someone who is just now walking in. And that was a brilliant, couple of moments. And I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that and stayed with those moments a little bit longer to see it fleshed out. Because it was just so interesting, and he's such a good actor to be able to play that duality inside of him and to see that fight inside of him. He's so expressive and he's so fantastic. I mean, even that the hearing with the not lawyers, but the people who were saying, gonna determine
board.
whether or not he could leave. I can't remember what the trial is called.
Parole board.
Yeah, parole board. And just that when she asked, are you acting in the during this interview, and just watching his face drop and struggle how to answer something like that while being genuine, but also like fearing, oh my God, I have to choose every single word so carefully, but I got to do it quickly at the same time. Like, that was an absolute brilliant scene, and if we had more of that, then yes, I would say this is 100% going to be a best actor performance, period, the end. But because we got a little bit less, then I think he's definitely 100% in the conversation. We'll see in the next few months what comes out, if anything can sweep in. And it's hard to say I fault the movie for it, because what we got, yes, we sacrificed some performance, but what we got was so much more heartwarming and so much more realism and so many more different takes on reality, and to see people, again, give those people a chance who have never been in a movie, and to see rehabilitation actually working was just so cool. And honestly, I loved it. These actors or / non-actors, however you want to label them, theater actors, they really hit those nuances that film kind of requires in the facial features and in the slowness and in the stillness. I think the supporting cast was outstanding as well.
And I, because I don't know any, we've talked about this before. We've never seen those people ever act before. Is this just them? And they just were like, oh, these are fun character human beings. Let's put them in. Your acting is you being you. Like, they still did acting. And by no means am I taking it away from like, oh, it was bad acting. Like, what we watched was fantastic. Yeah. It's too early for me to be like, oh, these are all great actors that definitely deserve chances and stuff like that, because you have to have a full range and a lot more goes into it than just being like yourself, realistically. They did it. I agree with you that they did fantastic. I greatly enjoyed, like, this is my problem, is like, I greatly enjoyed it, watching it. And then I got out of there going, I feel like I should have liked it more than I really like walked away from. It felt very kind of neutral to me, just because we kind of floated around, and I like having a plot that drives the movie rather than like I said to Dee Dee. Oh, also with Mike Dee Dee, Diddy, whatever. I still don't know how to
I
pronounce
think it's
it.
Didi. I think so.
They called him, his friends called him Wang Wang. So I was like, Wang Wang, Mike. It's just so funny.
I see the correlation now. I got you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I agree with you that he has some great moments in Coleman. And to me, if he wins this year, that is it's a correction from Rustin. Because while Rustin movie might not have been as good as Sing Sing, I think his performance in Rustin from last year, if nobody saw it, it's
on Netflix.
I think
Go
it's
check
still,
it out.
I think it's worth it. I don't think it's the greatest movie. It's worse than this movie, I think. But his performance might be a bigger performance and a better performance, just because some movies don't give you that opportunity to, and the movie they chose to do, isn't going to give the cinematographer ability to show off. It's not going to give the main actor necessarily a chance to give off. I don't think it gives the writing necessarily a chance to go up, because I think they improv'd a lot of stuff, which makes then, not all the transitions perfect, really, because it's kind of made up on the spot. So when you write it down, it's like, okay, so we want to get to here, so let's do this to weave into here. And then instead, it's kind of them getting to the point that they need to at some point, but then the other stuff kind of feels a little clunky when you like write it down and break it really down.
Yeah,
when you're watching
it's
it,
a lot
so
more
fun.
of a wayward story, and
Yes.
it is not a straight through. That's exactly, you're 100% right. And what I found really cool though, is that they did exactly that, where from writing it is the Greg Kwedar and his
Kwedar.
His creative partner Clinton Bentley.
Check your Kwedar.
Check your Quedars. They talked about how even in like the script phase, they may not have written some of this movie because they did it with the former prisoners and these people, when they were talking about situations or when they were going over scenes and kind of breaking everything down, they changed it from the script phase. But then when they got to set, they kind of set the camera down, created a moment. They asked a question to these guys, and then they turned the camera on and they just let them go. And so it was very improv, or is very loose, which means that there wasn't a whole lot of great transitions story wise, but those isolated moments were so raw and so real. And so you're right. Were we seeing great actors acting, or were we seeing these incredible people with rich a rich history just kind of open up, and we get to see that for themselves? So it'd be really interesting to see this entire cast, or these individual actors play in different roles, to see, all right, can you actually act, or can you just be yourself? And again, what we got was really good and really interesting. It's a difficult barometer, because this is the only thing most of these people have been in.
And it felt very like the sum wasn't as good to me. The sum wasn't as good as the individual parts.
Interesting. Okay.
I feel like as a whole, when I look back, I just think of individual moments, and to me, so when I got out of it, I was trying to think of, like, there were some very sad moments, very sad emotional moments, which that reminds me, I think at some point, Movie Club month, we should do Make Me Cry, where we just pick sad movies just for the sake of sad movies, because this one like had me on the brink. But I was going to equate it to like jump scares in movies, right? Where it's like, just because I got scared by the jump scare, if we all walked away from it, everyone would be like, yeah, but it's like a jump scare. It didn't really have anything built up. It wasn't super original. And then I started thinking, you know what? It's very similar to, when you kill a dog, say in movies, okay? Sure. When you kill a dog, it's just like, earlier you went, hey, I love this dog. Isn't this dog cool? And then you're going to kill him. And like, okay, you got me to cry, but was there really like a big buildup, or is it just an individual moment that we all know is going to be sad? That's what I felt like it with this movie. It was a lot of individual moments where I'm like, that is sad, but I didn't get a huge buildup to it. And I think the perfect example is they quite literally just did that, where one of the sad moments was him just describing putting his dog down out of nowhere. Like, like maybe he referenced when, I don't even know if it was the same dude, but, and I'm just taking a guess. I'm assuming when they went around and like, what's your favorite, place, and describe your favorite place. I hope to God he was there and said something about his dog. Because if not, even if he did that, it's still one random line that's like, oh, this is what my setup was. But that's what the movie felt like to me was, we're just going to, hey, here's the sad scene now. Everyone, we're going to talk about the dog putting down, which was sad. But, when I look at it as writing wise, it's just a jump sad. It just was like, hey, this is when you're supposed to be sad. Be sad. Remember, you like dogs. That's what it felt like to me.
Like if you're in a TV audience and they say, hey, applaud or laugh.
Exactly.
Like,
somebody's holding up the cry moment.
Yeah.
The cry moment was sad.
It was.
But
exactly.
There was no
it
build
was very
up to
emotional. It just it was organic because it came out of nowhere and it came from this conversation with someone who was visiting, the people who were still incarcerated. And so it was like, again, where did that come from? What was the point of that? And again, I think when you dissect it like that, I think the point was it was a slice of life. It was to look at these characters, look at these individuals, and there wasn't really a plot. So I totally understand.
That's why I say individual moments were better than the sum of the parts. I thought.
And I totally see that, because I think, and there are definitely exceptions to this, but I think I personally like the character studies more when it's a character driven movie and not necessarily a plot driven movie. Of course, there are exceptions to that. But and I think you're the opposite. You like a lot more direct plot, and a beginning, middle, end, with resolutions and all of that, with better characters. This just wasn't that.
Well, I feel like I got cheated on some Coleman. I wanted more Coleman. Like, they could have easily cut some of those people out to have more Coleman, but they decided to to feature them, which was good. But you sacrificed some story. You sacrificed some development of the main part of the movie. If you're even saying that, because the main part was realistically, guys, I don't know. The main part, if it was a normal movie, it would be about him getting out on parole versus this other guy and like everything that goes into it. They had the whole like parole stuff was maybe throughout an hour and 45-minute movie. It was like 4 scenes total, maybe. And then, so that was like the main story-ish. So I just felt like I got cheated out of some Coleman, and I got cheated out of some main plot that I think I would have enjoyed more personally when I look at a whole movie.
No, I hear you. As far as like the other story beats or the other storylines, I think that the rivalry between Divine G and Divine I, between Coleman and his name is Clarence Maclin, I think that was really interesting as well, because again, traditionally, if it was a traditional story or traditional prison movie, you'd have them fighting. You might have one of them injuring the other one, critically and almost dying. You'd have a lot more jealousy or animosity or things like that. Where in this movie, there was a little bit of hints of that, but it was a lot more about like building a friendship and building this bond and seeing, oh, there is room for both of us. And even though my parole got denied, even though, I'm still happy for you. And those moments, again, I just love that we went down that alley, and it wasn't more of the, okay, let's bring it back. Let's do the big fight scene. Let's do this. I'm never going to talk to you again. Or, we're going to be rivals this whole time. And there's going to be no resolution.
They did have that. They had that scene where he like pulled him into a corner. I feel like he pulled him into the corner and was like, "Oh, hey, do this." And he's like, "Fuck you, man. Shit, blah. How dare you pull me in a corner? I hate you. I'll fuck you up. All this stuff." Then he left. Then he wasn't in theater for a bit. Then he showed back up and he was chill. He was trying to help him out and stuff. And I felt like it like there's scenes that were supposed to happen that we never saw in between those 2 points. Again, the individual points were good, but it's like, when did all this happen that he decided, you know what, I'm emotionally going to move on to this because some things are bigger than me and I want to be a part of the group and I want to do this, and actually he's hurting, so maybe I should help him. And so I don't feel like I watched them become friends. I feel like I was told that they were friends. Like,
I see.
That's what it felt like. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, now we're actually really close. He's helping with this. And, they threw in a scene randomly to be like, hey, this is happening. Guys, catch up. And then they went back to the stuff.
Interesting. And yeah, and with Clarence's like side story about how he's, this dealer, and he's big dog in the yard and all that. People are afraid of him and he's got to go fuck people up. Like, we kind of did drop that storyline as well in that character arc where, we got him threatening the one dude, and then at the very end we got the one dude, giving him his whatever it was. And he kind of had that conflict, Clarence did, when he was kind of looking at him being like, I don't think I really want this. And so to see that storyline fleshed out would have been a lot more interesting as well. But you're right. We definitely sacrificed some, or omitted completely some of those chances at, okay, what are the storylines and how can we tie these in together? And yes, it's cool to see, everyone kind of improv and have a couple of minutes in the limelight. What's going to be better for the movie, and is this going to be a better movie if we could tie these together and make it more coherent? But I don't know. I don't know if they even had attempted that, or if maybe that's what some of the first iterations were.
I mean, I truly believe. I mean, I think they made the movie that they mostly, I don't know, but with a bunch of improv, I'm sure it did adjust. And honestly, when I say this, I don't wish they went back and changed it necessarily. Like. Mm-hmm. I'm glad they made the movie. They're going to get credit for doing unique shit. And, just like Tenet, they're going to get credit for doing unique shit, putting people in there that don't necessarily, all that stuff. They're absolutely going to get credit for that. And I don't want them to go back and change it. But when I look at it and compare it to other stuff, I just don't think it's hard for me to give it above other stuff that was able to do that necessarily.
Okay.
Another example to me, though, is Mike. When they were sitting there and they were talking, and then he died after. Very sad. Very, very sad. But I fucking hate that it was just a random aneurysm.
Yeah.
Like, you could have easily put, like, a scene earlier that Mike kind of stood up for I was going to say Rustin, for Coleman, stood up for him maybe, and then, he got killed in the yard, or, maybe they're not taking care of the jail cells, and he got, fucking, I don't know, mold poisoning or something like that. Like, because he's in jail is why he died, not just, oh, hey, aneurysm, don't worry about it. Like, it's just random.
Right.
Like
or if it, had to do with Divine Eye, Clarence's, kind of gang or rivalry there,
and
or
then
something
he's like,
that.
I tried to stop it, but I couldn't. It's gone too big. That to me is an example of Mike died, guys. It's time to cry. I know it kind of came out of nowhere. We have no really setup for it, but he died, so you're supposed to cry now. That's what it felt like to me.
I got you. And at the same time, the other side of that is sometimes that shit just happens, right? And that's the
okay.
Other
so
side
remember
of
that for the future, Brandon.
Yeah.
Some of these stuff just happens, man.
Sometimes,
I'm
just
fine
happens
with it.
like that.
You just have to remember that also.
And it's not as sad, right? But you're 100% right, and I do need to remember that. You're right, because sometimes you don't get that resolution, and sometimes you don't get that nice storyline. You don't get any reasoning behind it. It just fucking happens. And that is tragic in its own right, is you never did get that chance to say goodbye, or you never did get that chance to prove your innocence, or to grow, or anything like that. And so you're right, there's just that other side of that as well. So which choice, and that obviously was the choice they made.
Yeah. I mean, but like you said, it's like them finding humanity in this place, which I think it would have just been so much stronger if this place is trying to hold you down and you have to fight it so much that it's killing your best friend. It's killing your people around you, but you still have to look for your humanity. You have to hold on to it despite what this place does to you and the people around you.
Right.
Like, so that's why I just feel like that would have strengthened that. So when I personally say, the sum of the parts versus that individual moment when Mike died, I was like, fuck you people. That's sad. I'm upset. Yeah. But when I look at it like as the whole story, I'm like,
it could have been a little bit more. It could have been, had more substance to it. Oh well. What did you think about the cinematography? Because there was a moment when I can't remember exactly when he was performing. It might have been at the final performance, and with Coleman, and there was such a shaky cam, and it felt very intimate. But I during that I went, Matt's gonna hate this scene. He's gonna hate this scene because we didn't get a clean look at this incredibly emotional performance that kind of, says, hey, I am okay, and I did, make it through this despite exactly what we just said. Despite all of the circumstances, I am still gonna smile and I am gonna push through this because this is what I love to do.
So, I do I think I remember the point that you were talking about, because I think maybe once, maybe twice, I went, shit, it's really shaky. But see, here's the thing, and this is what I talk about other times when it is in like Twister or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That style of movie does not like present the shaky cam. This is the style that I'm down with. I'm fine with it.
Oh,
like
okay.
This helped because we're in realism. Like that's what it feels like. If we had big sweeping freaking pans and stuff, I'd be like, that feels out of place. Like, what kind of vibe are we going for?
Yeah.
But like the shaky cam is the realism vibe. Like, minimum music, minimum really camera movements. You're mostly just like, walking around with the camera. So I agree with you that like one or twice I was like, I have a headache. Not really, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But this is the style that I say, if you're going to do it, do it. It's like Love Lies Bleeding. It was another one that was very indie. So when it is shaky, I get it. Love Lies Bleeding went a little more overboard at times where I'm like, guys, there's earthquakes happening or something like that. So I do remember, I want to say you are correct about where it was. But I'm not taking negatives out of it. I don't give a giant positive because, this wasn't a project that promoted unique and crazy cinematography or camera movements and stuff. Like the production design was good.
Mm-hmm.
I believed it seemed lived in, but it just doesn't promote going crazy and being like, look at all my talent, all the things that I can do, because it doesn't fit, which I'm happy that they didn't go out of their way to be like, no, I want to show off. They let, mostly the acting be the star of the movie. Like, that's the fucking point. Right. Don't be giving me crazy lighting. Don't give me crazy camera movements. You let the thing be, Deadpool Wolverine. Don't let the story get in the way. Let the comedy be the star. We both agree with that.
Of course. Yeah. No comment there. Because one thing that the cinematography screamed to me was it knew exactly what it needed to be to fit in and tell this story, because there were so many tight shots. There wasn't a lot of wides, and the ones that we did have were so far back in the room, like we were kind of looking in through the door. Like if we were like one of the correctional officers,
the group that's doing stuff.
Exactly, looking at the entire group, but so far away, like we weren't part of it. We were just kind of observing like a fly on the wall. Or when we were in close, like we were in such tight shots, it felt claustrophobic, and it felt very, claustrophobic, very, very close, because
you're
again,
in jail.
We have to remember exactly where we are, and that helped kind of tell the story as well. Yeah, wait, is that where we were?
Another example of that is like I'm going back to the him and Mike having conversations. I want to say they had conversations like twice that we watched. I think once was like right before he died, and then once was earlier. And I thought they did a good job of like the one earlier, for whatever reason, I went, are they in the same cell? And then the second one, with the sound design and the camera work, I got a better of like, okay, so they can just hear each other because they're next to each other. And we didn't necessarily get a wide until we pulled back of the two doors, really where they were, but you got the vibe that they were separated. And I thought they did a good job with that. Yeah. I imagine their cellmate or the people in the cells next to them are like, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Nobody cares.
I'm so surprised we didn't get that. Even just once, just like, dude, shut up. I definitely kept expecting that to happen. Like when the one big dude was kind of practicing his lines and he was in the gymnasium and they were, doing basketball and stuff. Like I definitely thought we were going to go down those avenues of how these people have to deal with the other people around them. And the teasing and the taunting and the berating for choosing to do the arts in this, instead of being the tough guy and instead of being, the killer and the gangster and everything like that, they're choosing to go the other way. Again, I think that would have been a different story and a different movie entirely. But again, interesting to me as well. I found it really cool that they did actually shoot for a day at Sing Sing, so all the exteriors are of the actual Sing Sing prison.
I was wondering how much was shot in Sing Sing.
Yeah.
So all the interiors were set up somewhere else?
They were somewhere else. It was
Okay.
a place called Downstate. That's
just a different prison?
different prison.
Okay. But still
that
a
had
prison.
actually closed about a month before they started production there. So I don't know if they had been planning somewhere else and then pivoted, or if they were always planning on Downstate and then it just happened to close or coincide with the beginning of production.
Well, based off your productions, you kind of just figured out day of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly.
we're shooting today. What location should we go to?
I don't know. Who's close to what? Who's closest?
Dang it.
Another thing that I remembered is Mike, shot in San Jose, is Coleman Domingo's like real life best friend. So the themes of friendship were also kind of played up with the actual relationships as well.
It's a little sad that he got it because he's friends with Coleman, but whatever. I'm gonna ignore that. Which Mike I thought did a fantastic job. Honestly.
I loved him.
I
agree.
I'm less annoyed by that because he did a fantastic job of acting.
Yeah.
Another aspect of this, and why I assume you will love it, because you said, you want to explore in the prison instead of being a big tough guy, you went to the theater. That's what you did, right? When you were a kid, instead of you deciding to be a big tough guy, as you easily could have, you decided to go into theater. And so as me, not a theater kid, but I do build theaters sometimes and I'm in theaters and stuff like that. So it was a little cool for me to be like, okay, hey, cool. That's there. I mean, they had a freaking counterweight system, which was crazy to me, which means they had a decent amount of money, not crazy, but more than they were saying. I imagine, and I'll let you talk on this, of like how much nostalgia, and it just probably, I assume, found a place in your heart because you watched these prisoners and these guys really tap into your as a theater kid.
Yes, 100%. There were definitely moments I went, oh my God, I remember what that felt like, or that rush, or the excitement, or the anxiety, or like when Coleman is teaching Clarence how to like memorize lines. Like, here's the different types of processes that you can do this, and you digest it in little bits. Like, absolutely, it was
the
a little bit
exercises that they were doing and shit.
The exercises, for sure. And I mean, even just, watching, I was like, oh my God, those are so dumb and so silly. But like when you're in it and when you're doing it,
what an
it's
asshole.
You kind of you release and you don't think about it, and you are in that moment, and it's
Pee Wee Herman got in trouble for that.
It's so much fun to watch other people kind of experience that same thing. So it 100% tapped into something that's not so dormant anymore in that performative aspect.
Totes. My notes are not, especially for new movies. My notes are just a clusterfuck.
You're good. I know. Oh, trust me.
Hey, so something for me when things happen sometimes where it's like when I'm watching a movie, I get really distracted by something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pen. I don't have any pens around here, but at some point, my brother was buying pens that, for whatever reason, the like productions love to use that same style of pen. So we'd be watching movies and be like, oh, I have that fucking pen. So do you remember when he left the prison, do you remember the bag that Coleman was walking with? And maybe I'll look through to see photos.
Not off the top of my head, no.
I believe I have this bag. Because I'm like
shit. Yeah,
99% sure. Other than it didn't have... Oh, I thought these were blue. I might have this bag. This is my bag. So the whole time when we were watching, I went to go see it with Jeff. And I was sitting there and I like leaned over. I was like, I have that bag. And then I got so distracted. And I was like, I was trying to look to see like if I have that bag and stuff. I was so excited about it. I definitely get distracted every once in a while. I'm going to see if I can find a photo. While I look for a photo, I look to see if I can find a photo because I'm pretty positive I have the bag. And it's a great bag. It is a great bag. It folds up into like a little pouch and then I carry it around. You can unfold it. It's such a great bag. But while I look, you were telling me before the pod about that, like, this came up while doing something else. I feel like that happens a lot with like, documentaries and not so much of like feature films necessarily.
Yeah, yeah, and that was really interesting. Kwedar was producing a documentary about, he doesn't even say what, something else in a different prison.
Okay.
And
So you're
and
you're
so
telling me this wasn't on his Quadar?
hey,
All right.
I hate that I laughed at that. Um,
It was
so
great.
so he had so he's in a different prison, like doing this doc, and saw the, I don't know if you know of the program where incarcerated people are given animals to take care of, like puppies or cats or anything like that, and it kind of, helps them bond and kind of helps them gain their humanity back. And that to him unlocked, like, oh, what other programs are out there for people that I didn't know about? And so he started researching and came across Sing Sing, and then kind of just went, oh my God, this is fantastic. And how amazing of an opportunity this is, to the point where he and his producing partner became a volunteer in RTA and taught an acting class to the people, and then kind of went, all right, well, how do we capture this? Like, how do we capture the energy of what this felt like to do? Because it's something special, and we don't really know exactly, how to do that. And they say that what unlocked it, and it was inviting all of the alumni to actually, create the movie with them. And that, I think, is like you said very early on, is they made the movie they wanted to make, and I 100% agree with that. From honestly, from inception to release, is I think that once they realize, oh, this is a community thing, because RTA is a communal thing, that really kind of gave them the inspiration to go and drive this thing home. So yeah, so for better or worse, that's why this movie kind of came about.
That's okay. I mean, hey, I always love, when actors and directors after the fact are like, when what's it? Taika was like, "Oh, I didn't fuck Marvel. I just made the movie for money." It doesn't really end up. It doesn't give me a negative. Like, whatever. The movie already got made, and I enjoy it, so I don't give a shit.
Sure.
But it is always fantastic to hear, and I'm happy when directors and actors and stuff find something new that they didn't realize, and they're open to new ideas, and they go, you know what? I never even thought about this, but this is a great idea, and they really follow. We get passion over payday, basically, and so it is always nice, and it'd be nice if there were more of that.
Yes, 100% agree. The cinematographer, I wonder if you noticed anything, did A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah.
I did not know that. Yeah. Well, so that's a perfect example of, like, I'm sure they've got more, I don't want to say skill, but more tricks up their sleeve than we saw. But
Right.
It wasn't the area. Granted, they did shoot on film, right?
I was hoping you found something, because I didn't see any definitive, this is what it was shot
I would
on,
assume so,
but it
because
sure felt like
so
it.
fucking noisy, dude. There was
was-
so, like, I felt like I saw hairs pop up
Yes.
every once in a while,
I did
which to
the
me
same.
was a little distracting. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
It's not like I wanted it, like, clean and crisp. I think the, slightly the soft and not, I don't want to say blurry, less crisp did play well into the style of movie that they were aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad they aimed for film, even if they just shot it digitally and made it look like it, which
Right.
They could have. I doubt it, but
Very much could have been, but it would have been a hell of a filter for sure. Because there were several times I went, well, they didn't check the gate. There was hair all over the lens on that one.
I don't think that's hard. I don't think that's hard to do. I think that is a pretty. I bet you we could do that. I'm gonna make that filter. Fuck that.
Okay,
shit.
cool. Go for it.
Make a shit ton of money or any money
Woo.
whatsoever.
All
right.
Yeah.
I can't find the bag. It's very upsetting. There's like
I know.
4 photos on IMDb.
I know. I'm telling you, this is such a under wraps production.
There are 14 photos on IMDb.
Uh-huh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, 7, 8, 9 of them are posters. 3 of them are the same screenshot. So
Uh-huh.
there's 2 different screenshots from the film and 1 photo of, like, somebody looking at a monitor, kind of. That's it. Come on, guys. Fuck.
We need more behind the scenes, guys. Come on.
We need a photo of that bag so that I can confirm that I have the bag.
Let's
It's a good
just say you have it, so you get angry and
I'm not. I just want to be cool. If I go to prison, do I get that another one of those bags? Would it be worth it? Ooh.
oh my god, I don't know how much is that bag.
It was pretty cheap. Sierra Trading Company. Back when it was Sierra Trading Company, not just Sierra. Anyways, grading.
Right, we should probably go and rate. Rate, sing.
Sorry, it's called rating. Oh, hey, theater kid, let's hear some singing. Come on, this is your chance. Let's go.
We're rating the movie now.
Ugh, that was awful, dude.
Excuse you.
All right. Do you want me to go first, and then you can blow your load everywhere?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Let me pull this up real quick because I'm pretty sure I kind of know where I want it to go. I did go see this with Jeff, and I asked Jeff if he wanted any grading. Shocking, he kind of said it was roughly around the area that I was putting it. I know that
I
shocks
don't believe
you.
that. That's
Right?
wild.
Crazy. But then he never answered me after that. So fuck him. I'm in. Okay, so the positives for me is like I think all the acting was good. I think the movie felt more or less like production, camera work, lighting, looked good, didn't blow me away, but it all looked fantastic. You know, story-wise, like I said, I think they sacrificed some story and some cohesiveness in that area to really like let some of the moments shine, which, you know, I like, but it's hard for me to put it above some stuff that I think personally did both, you know? I think or at least did, you know, one of the halves way better. I love Coleman's performance. His performance was solid 90% of the time, and then the 10% was really fucking great. But I left it wanting more. And, you know, I'm in like the 7.5, 8 range personally.
Okay.
When I look at my grades, I might honestly, I have Coda, one of the first ones rated. Coda is at an 8 flat. And so I think I'm going to, Past Lives is at 8 flat. Coda's at 8 flat. Honestly, I think that might be the Holdovers is 8 flat, where I think I'm going to go 8 flat because there was a ton of stuff that was fantastic, but not all of it. And, you know, as the sum, like I said, the sum was less than stellar. But when I put an 8 on something, 8 is, I understand it being in the movie of the year conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If it sneaks into the back, if it wins Best Picture, I'll be annoyed. But if it's in the category, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, dude. It was very emotional. Like, they get credit for putting all the not necessarily non-actors, but like not traditionally popular actors, or, you know, people we don't see a lot, making a really like a unique movie. So yeah, I'm gonna go with 8 flat. Next to Past Lives, Coda, The Holdovers. I personally think that's the perfect level for it. So we go
Right
8
on.
flat. 8 flat.
Right on.
And I already took my guess for yours. I put 11 down.
That's even a little bit low, I think. So yeah, I definitely I like this movie a little bit more than you did. I'm not gonna go crazy. When I say it's my favorite of the year, it's by no means perfect. It's definitely a weird year. It's definitely a softer year. And I was just looking through all of the 24 releases that I've seen, and honestly, the only thing that kind of comes near it is pretty close is probably Civil War. You know?
I was also thinking about that, but to me, and they both have like story problems, but Civil War just visually was fucking gorgeous. And it's like that personally for me, that's why it's above that. But then, but again, like I said, they sacrificed the chances to do that because of the style of movie that they wanted to make.
Sure.
Which, it is what it is.
Right, exactly,
Suck it.
exactly. I mean, even Kinds of Kindness is similar vibes in my opinion. I think I liked this one a little bit more than Kinds of Kindness. I'm trying to see where I put KOK. I don't remember where I put it.
You are 7.25.
7.25. Yeah, so I
Holy
definitely liked
shit.
liked
I fucking
Sing
hope
Sing
you liked it
more.
I hope you liked it more.
Yeah.
I liked it more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so let me talk about what I liked about it. Was the majority of the film. I love the acting. I loved Coleman. He was absolutely a powerhouse. You're right. I agree. I would have liked to have seen more of him. But what we got was so. It felt so raw and it felt so personal. Even though he is a big actor and hasn't gone through these experiences, I feel like he captured the essence of it extremely and extraordinarily well. I love the supporting cast around him. I think, again, whether or not they're better actors in different roles, it remains to be seen. What we got from them, I felt was astounding for essentially non-actors. I like the cinematography, in the fact that it kind of was, the drummer to the band. Like, it didn't try and do too many flashy things. It had a couple of moments, with the conversation with Mike, the last conversation where it got to we got to play with color a little bit, where, it felt very claustrophobic, but it knew what it was. So I like that. Again, nothing felt like it was trying to be more than it was, but it did all kind of fit together and fit the themes and fit the style of the movie. The story itself, the plot itself, I agree, is probably the weakest aspect of this, where there's a loose thread that kind of goes throughout everything, but there's nothing, a single overarching plot, a single overarching story, and it's just really a character study. So personally, I like those a little bit more. The music and the score we didn't really touch on or talk about, but that was amazing in my opinion. I think it was very uplifting and very ethereal, and definitely helped kind of sell the emotion of the story as well. At times, I think it could have been a little bit heavy-handed. And honestly, I'm kind of rambling a little bit because I'm trying to buy time, because I think I have it. I mean, I don't know if I can put it in at a 9. I came out of the movie saying, all right, I think this is a 9.25. But I liked it more than Civil War, which I have it at an 8.25. So I'm struggling in that range.
Oh, at 8.25? Really? Interesting. I thought
Yeah.
you'd be higher than that. See, like, I didn't know if you were going to do what I did with Civil War, which I was in love with Civil War, but it's hard for me to put a 9 on something that I just walk out of the theater. And so
Exactly.
I'm waiting to watch it again.
Exactly.
And if I watch it again and I still enjoy it, I'm going to bump it up to a 9, which probably is going to happen.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of the league I'm struggling in. And just looking at my 9s as well, like I've got Midsummer, which I absolutely love and gush about so many different aspects, and is such a technical movie. And like Jojo Rabbit is a powerhouse of how to tell a certain story. And Sing Sing, while it's just so much fun, I don't think I can get it there. But I think I liked it more than something like even like The Nice Guys, which I love. So I think I'm going to put it at an 8.75. Definitely, I believe that's the highest of the year of the ratings.
Well, thankfully, Wonka was last year.
Yeah, that was so much fun. I don't care what you say.
9.5.
That was so much fun.
I hear you, but you're just like, oh, I don't know if I can do that with the theater. And then, hey, it's fine. It's fine. You loved Wonka and had a great time.
Had a lot of fun with that one. No, I'm being much more realistic with this one. I'm sure I need to bump Wonka down just a tad.
Both from last year's, both Wonka and Poor Things, you
Mhm.
walked out the theater and gave a 9.5, 9.75.
Yeah, I saw Poor Things again, and that didn't change. So that's what helped.
You're good. We've already. Hey, the ratings are all personal, so it's like your 9 is like.
Yeah.
A 9 for you is like, the equal to like, what, 8.25 for me or so.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it all evens out. But yeah, no, I'm going to give it an 8.75. I'm sure when...
Same as Barbie.
Yep, same as around Barbie, Ex Machina, which we haven't talked about specific, or actually on the
I don't know,
podcast,
people-
we kind of talked about it. Not really.
Haven't heard of.
Yeah. Silver Linings Playbook.
Okay. 8. And I thought you'd be in the 9s. I would have bet my life you were in the 9s. I'm a little shocked by that. I imagine speaking of grade changes, end of the year, that's the opportunity to look back and change grades. So, I already have grades written down to change. I would imagine Brandon might end up changing this one. But it's far away, but not that far away.
I know, it's creeping up on us a lot quicker than I'd like to admit, for sure. But yeah, so that's Sing Sing for sure. Sing Sing was the movie we talked about today.
Agreed, sir. You said character. It was a character study, but felt like a character study that we didn't study the character, kind of. We half-assed studied the character. That was my only It's
like a character expose is really what it was.
Kind of. I mean, it was I guess. It was much, I don't know. It was just about the theater group, kind of. But then we didn't even dive that much into the performance. It wasn't a build-up for the performance necessarily, because we just didn't watch the performance.
Right.
We very minimum prepped for the performance. It was a very minimum version of that. But so... yeah, I don't know.
It felt like a doc, like a dramatized documentary is really what this felt like.
I definitely felt like I walked out of it going, I feel like I'm supposed to like it more than I did.
Yeah.
And I just can't necessarily give it above an 8. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Anyways,
that was Sing Sing. Definitely go check it out if you get a chance. If not, hopefully it'll be available soon. Don't know when or where that might be. So Sing Sing producers, if you're listening to this, release the film. I want to see it again.
When it was released, didn't I see it? I watched it, didn't I? In theater?
Release it more. Release it harder.
Just go back to the same place you saw it.
But why? That's repeating
because
things.
Alamo is fucking awesome.
True. I agree.
Fuck
Alamo
yeah,
is fucking awesome. Awesome. So that was Sing Sing. I've said that 9 times because I keep forgetting where I was going to go with that. Definitely go check out last Thursday. We're continuing our Fallout series. We just talked about episode 5, which is The Past. Before that, we had Deadpool and Wolverine, the big summer blockbuster release of the year. Next week, we're not 100% sure yet. Might be Alien Romulus, might be a streamer, might be something else that's coming out in mid-August.
No matter what, it's going to be fun, motherfuckers. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to curse at you guys. I apologize.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing. August is time travel month, so make sure you're checking out our Sunday episodes. You're watching along with those movies. We've got Edge of Tomorrow coming up there in a few days. We just talked about Tenet. Before that was Arrival. At the end of the month, we've got our next fantasy movie draft featuring Johnny Depp movies. So everyone go vote for your favorite Johnny Depp movies, because that's how we're getting points.
Hell yeah.
All the information is going to be...
That's all I know.
All the information is going to be in the show notes, so make sure you check us out. We're all over socials. Come say hi, subscribe, do all the cool things, be a cool person, tell a friend, tell a parent.
Don't be a loser.
Don't be a loser. Tell people. Do cool things, and we're here being cool as well.
Don't be a loser like Mike and just die.
Yeah. God, what a jerk. Anyway.
Agreed.
All right, guys. That's it for today. Enjoy the movies, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.